This show is intended for adult audiences. You know, people with bills, backaches, responsibilities, and a functioning sense of humor. It contains strong language, stronger opinions, and the kind of jokes that might send the emotionally fragile into a full-blown meltdown. If you're easily offended, perpetually outraged, or think words are violence, this is your cue to clutch your pearls, grab a blankie, and sprint to your nearest safe space. Or, you know, just get in the sea. We won't miss you. For everyone else, buckle up and let's have some laughs.
Rated D for Dickhead.
You are coping and seething. You just can't accept what you're seeing. Yes, you're coping and seething. The truth it is scalding, and now you are molding and coping.
The BBC were ambitious.
Engines roar through the ash-gray skies. The wasteland burns, but hope won't die. Every screen's a twisted lie, built to break us, make us comply. They poison the heroes, rewrite the tales, turn legends to dust, leave us frail. But we're not done, we won't bow down. Through the wreckage, we'll take the crown. Steel hearts ignite, fire in our veins. Freedom's calling, breaking the chains. They can't erase what we already know. HyperDrive now, let's fucking go. HyperDrive time, we're burning the night, blazing through shadows, our stories ignite. Will all the fans come ride with me as we laugh at foolish hypocrisy? HyperDrive time is now or it's never, as long as they rule, let's fucking go forever. Forever. Oh, forever. Forever. Go forever.
Baby, hello. How the hell are you doing today, ladies and gentlemen? It's time again. We're back. That's right. Let's see now. Can people hear me? I think they can. Sound should be working quite well, although I am very quiet by my reckoning. What do you guys think? Seems that I'm a lot more quiet than I normally am. So let's see if that makes it any better. Bit of a sound check. Bit of an auto sound check. You guys love the intro sequence, I know. Yes, thank you. I worked very hard on it. And then everybody just talks about the money clip all the time. But that's fine. That's the one that went viral. At least something went viral, so who cares? Yes, guys, hello, welcome back. Welcome back once again to Will of the Fans. My name's Will, you know the drill. And, of course, it is drive time somewhere, which means it's hyperdrive time everywhere, which is very convenient for me because that remains true, even if I move the stream to the entire opposite end of the day in an attempt to grab a few more of you who may be around, actually available to watch and uncontested with basically nobody else streaming at the same time as me. So that's lovely. Although the only person who may also be streaming at the same time is nobody. So if I'm stepping on his toes, apologies, but it is hyperdrive time. So ladies, gentlemen, and of course, nothing in between. Welcome once again. Am I pixelated as heck? Really? What the hell? Why? That's weird. I am, aren't I? My image quality has gone straight to hell. What is going on, internet? Philippines, what are you doing? What are you doing? Philippines, your internet is shit today. What's going on? I'm on, hold on a minute. Perfect. Just what I needed. Great start to the stream. Great start. Great start. Let's see. What's my speed? Oh, that's bad. That's very bad. Should be 350 Mbps. Currently, for some unknown reason, it is at 7. So that would be why the quality is so terribly low. Hopefully it will continue to get progressively better as we move through. but Jesus Christ, this is no good at all for me. No good whatsoever. I absolutely need there to be a high quality image of me here. So can't be having that. Can't be having that. I'm gonna have to text the wife, tell her to stop using the internet. Okay, I don't know why the internet is so terribly bad, but of course that has completely felted my intro. So that's a great start to the new time slot. Wonderful times. Imagine if that had happened to WWE when they went to Netflix. I don't think they'd be there for much longer. But then, you know, saying that, if this internet doesn't improve very quickly, I think it's going to be my turn to make a decision about discontinuing a certain service, a PLDT. So we'll find out. Just a second while I text the wife. Okay, hold on. Okay, there we go. Hopefully everybody else will disconnect whatever they are connected to the internet on, and my image will start to improve. It looks like it has already. All right, good. All right, we're back, ladies and gentlemen, and nothing in between. As I said, welcome once again to another voyage of discovery, racing through the wastes of the internet to the further reaches of yours and my sanity on another chapter in our never-ending quest, our never-ever-ending quest to rid the universe of absolute bollocks, my friend. Bollocks.
Alpha Betty Spaghetti!
That's a new clip, and it definitely hasn't worked because it's over 2 minutes long for some reason. There must be a random piece of footage in the timeline. Everything's going so very well on this new time slot episode of the stream. Isn't it just what you always wanted? I'm going to level with you. I'm going to level with you because that's what I do around here. I never have enough sleep, and I have to sleep every spare sort of 20-minute block that I can possibly get between bouts of my children crying, which you might be able to hear happening right now outside my door. So that's why everything's rushed today. It's one of those days. One of them's had her jabs, so she's not very happy. The other one is sleep deprived and doesn't know how to handle it as well as her dad does. So there we go. It's a great day. It's a wonderful day. It's a great day. It's a shit show. Come on. Well, whatever. Anyway, here we are. It is HyperDrive time, guys. And I must ask that you please keep your brains at least firmly screwed to the screen. And of course, we'll check out who's in the chat because that is the tradition of the stream. So Sardoc showed up and said, speaking of Charlie Kirk Perp, apparently that old guy that initially was caught served as a distraction and they had a look at his phone. Oh no, I just saw the next thing you said. And of course there was cheese pizza on it. Damn, son. You can't spit on a leftist without hitting a PDF file. My God. It's really like it, isn't it? It is becoming all so clear now what the real agendas of this cabal have been. And you know, even as I've opposed it for 8 or 9 years at this point, and even longer as a very passive background player of Gamergate 1, the pattern recognition in all of us that has been taught to us, thank you, by the left, has taught us that every single person who associates with this radical group, who falls down the rabbit hole and gets indoctrinated, ends up just the most filthy, evil, morally bankrupt scum of the earth. And it's tragic, actually, because you are dealing with not just Marxists, not just communists, but perverts and murderers. And they were always going this way, and we were far too kind. We were far too kind. If you haven't seen that Sam Hyde clip yet, I would check it out, where he shows a picture of Charlie Kirk and says, "This is you." Then he shows a picture of Irina Zarutska, says, "This is your wife, your sister, your daughter." Over and over again, and just basically, it's a call to arms. Well, maybe not to arms. Can't say that on YouTube, but it's a call to action. It's the ultimate call to action. We thought we were in action before, but we're really not enough. Like, as people keep saying, you don't hate journalists enough. You don't hate Democrats enough. You don't hate any politician enough, really, but especially the left. You have no idea what they are planning for all of us. And it's time to stop treating them with kid gloves. It's time to stop playing moral high ground. And it's time to start closing them down. Not violence. No violence, please. God, no. We should never succumb to that. Okay, we have to have one rule, but they need to be disbanded, disarmed, dismantled, and saved as many as possible, really, in whatever version of practice that ends up taking. Wow, what an intense start to a show that started off badly to begin with. Well, let's see who else is in. Derek Smith is saying not wrong, presumably to Talkie Toasters, €2 super chat. Thank you very much for that. Appreciate you. Yeah. Says the early toast gets eaten first. That is very profound and exceptionally true. Anyone who makes toast, you know, I'm a bit of a toast. Well, I can't say the word, can I? Because they keep calling us that. But you know what I'm going to say. Like a grammar Yahtzee, I'm a toast Yahtzee. I'm like, you eat it, you spread the butter on immediately, and you eat it while it's hot. And if you can't do that, man, you are not qualified to operate a toaster. So there's that. And Derek Smith, yes, he was not wrong at all. Appreciate you. Sardox here says, hello, my Smeegs. Yes, indeed. It is our post-ranking Red Dwarf Series 3 stream yesterday on WTF Live. We had a great time yesterday. We all had a good laugh. And, of course, we did quite well. However, we are still lacking on the blue bar, which, of course, is probably changed to green, really, shouldn't I? Green, as in memberships for the Princesses of the Fans. When that's filled, we will play Jackbox again. So keep that in mind. That's the top bar. Bottom bar, that's for your super chats. That's just for this stream. So that's for, you know, funny clips and boobies and stuff. So that's the way we're operating things around about now. I don't know what to call them in terms of tiers, except tiers as lube. So there we go. Rails of Steels here says, good day, everybody. Hello to you too, buddy. And Stephen Bromby's here says, afternoon all. Oh, good. We are catching people at drive time then. That's good. Derek Smith compliments the opening. Yeah, it's so much fun, isn't it? I love that song. I loved working on that song. I loved working on that intro. It took me 2 weeks. I drew everything. Even animated the little screens moving past, you know, with all so much effort. Then I made the Alyssa and Jaffe clip, and everyone just wants to watch that all the time. So, oh well, fill the bar, you know. And even though it is 9 o'clock at night for me, I am drinking tea with plenty of caffeine because, like I said, sleep deprived as hell. Rails of Steel says, wow, Destiny has me angry right now. Not even sure why I let a cuck get under my skin in the first place. His opinion should be automatically invalidated since he can't even keep his wife happy. Well, I mean, he did try to keep his wife happy, didn't he? It's just that he couldn't do it himself. And it backfired massively when she ran off with another guy, which, of course, is always the end of that story, one way or the other. So no one should be surprised. Destiny is, however, the scum of the earth. And to give reference back to the earlier comment about the old man with the cheese pizza on his phone, Destiny apparently has, 60 gigabytes of cheese pizza on his hard drive, according to him, he himself, when he told somebody else, and then got ratted out to the police. So not only is he being sued for revenge porn, he's also being investigated for cheese pizza, and he still goes on Piers Morgan and calls for more violence against the right. This guy should be in jail. It's crazy. Bromby says, indeed, it slaps, the intro. Thank you. Thank you. Then we get all the comments about how pixelated I was. Yes, sound was the thing I was worried about, but the picture was letting me down. So broadcasting from 2004. Nope, just the Philippines, apparently, mate. And while that usually works, occasionally it does screw me over. MagesGuild for $2 says, hey, black people. Nope, none of them here, buddy. Says slow news cycle. What? What? Are you out of your mind, sir? Slow news? This is the most insane week of news I've seen in like in years, every single day, there is another major development, either in the actual investigation into the murder or into the freaks who have been cheering for it and getting fired left, right, and center. It is impossible to keep up with. I've got like 8 topics for this stream alone. So we're going to have to struggle and get through all of them. But hey, maybe there's not a lot of Star Trek news. Maybe that's what you're talking about. And good for you. I'm glad you could make it to the stream either way. So thanks for being here. Talkie Toaster says the picture was getting better. Yes. Do I employ any QoS on my router? No, it's not really mine. It's from the ISP. I need to buy my own and sort that out. It's time, really. Theirs is just terrible, just appallingly bad. But anyway, MagesGuild for another $2 says sent you a funny screenshot to share in your DMs. All right, let me take a look. Let me see what I got. Just waiting for X to load. Yeah, the internet's being janky as hell today. Just what I needed when there's no co-hosts to cover for me if I get kicked. Not that I have co-hosts on this show anyway. It's a solo show. What we got here? What the oh my god. What is this? What is this? All right, hold on. Let me see if I can get it on the screen for you guys. Here we go. All right, so this is a picture of well, I mean, it must be a trans woman, surely. It's definitely not a real woman. Not with a nose, jawline, lips, and lines on the face drawn like that, and those eyebrows. No way. Netflix geeked. The mission is never really over, from the writer of John Wick. Are you having a giraffe? Comes Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell Death Watch. Well, I mean, certainly if they're one of them, eh? A new animated series based on the acclaimed Ubisoft video game franchise, only on Netflix October 14th. Well, what can I possibly say to that? I mean, what could I possibly say except... There we go. So what did you say at the bottom? Watching files is more entertaining than flies is more entertaining than this would be, in my opinion. Well, I mean, it depends. If this does turn out indeed to be a tranoid, then we're going to have a lot of laughs with that because, I mean, yeah, the mission is never really over. Also, Death Watch. I mean, who are they going to X first, themselves or somebody else? It's the tranoid Death Watch. You know, there we go. Either way, wherever a TQ plus goes, death is sure to follow, apparently. So there's that. Thanks for the screenshot. Appreciate you for the $2 too. What else we got? Animal says, rid the world of demons. Yeah, that would be nice. Says, if you haven't checked out the YouTubers infiltrating Antifa and the extremists, you should check out Karolin Borisenko and the Devil's Advocate. All right, you know what? I'm going to screenshot that right now, and I will definitely have a look at that when I have some time later. Because right now, obviously, I am doing a show. There's a plan, and I can't deviate too much from it. But there you go. Screenshot and noted for later. Thank you. Derek Smith says, wish I could say I was surprised, but here we are. Stephen Bromby, if anything, has galvanized people 100-fold now. Oh, I mean, so much. So much. We are, and when I say we, this is a very important thing because, you know, it's us versus them mentality is not healthy, but it unfortunately is necessary now. When I say us and we, I mean anybody but the radical left. Anybody who opposes the radical left. They would call you far right for opposing the radical left, but that's because, of course, they're so far left that they can't even see the middle anymore. The far right are largely made up of center-right libertarians, like myself, and that's basically it. Thought Irina, sorry, was very sweet and innocent looking, reminding me of my own daughter. Damn, That's tough. Yeah, she looked like a nice lady. I mean, she's obviously done some modeling, but she looked like in the pictures where she's not all glammed up that you've seen of her, she looked like a normal woman trying to make a go of it in a foreign country because she ran away from the war in hers. Killed for no reason other than apparently the color of her skin. Oh dear. By another person who may not care about politics, but is a benefactor of the left. So, or a beneficiary, I should say, of the left. So there we go. MagesGuild says he makes his toast in a pan. That's interesting. Do you throw some egg in there with it, make French toast? Because that's definitely a good idea. What else we got? Talkie Toaster, the little toasters talked me into ice cream, untoasted, mind you, anyway, lurking until back. That's fair. That's fair. Totally fair. The left equals CP. Marx was well, this is something you hear, isn't it? I mean, he was apparently a father, from what I've heard. I don't know. But if he was a father, he was an absentee. So that's the beginning of that paradigm, apparently. He was a drunk. I know that much. And according to my father, at the end of Das Kapital, or whatever the hell it was he wrote, he ends it by saying these are all just ideas and they'll never actually work. But I don't know that either. That's just my dad. Either way, it is all bollocks. And it needs to be exposed, you know, and inexorably exhausted, basically. Well, not basically. That was quite a complex way of saying get them the fuck out of culture. Get them out, ripped out, root and stem, and thrown into the fire where it belongs. This is bad, bad, bad shit for humanity. And it's some of the worst we've ever seen as well. Excuse me. MagesGuild once again said I meant that today is slow. Yesterday was mad. Well, good. Then maybe I can catch up. I'm looking to do that. DramaticaLaur is here, says struggling with bad pain. So if I'm not super hyper today, that's why. Sorry to hear that, dear. Take some paracetamol or hell, even some naproxen if that's what you need. Mefenamic acid, always a good shout. All these varieties of painkiller can help if it's lady pain or if it's something else, you know. Rosie's here, says I think that is supposed to be Grim from the Splinter Cell series. Oh, right. Okay. I was seeing more like the Netflix version of Lara Croft, but actually even more manly. So there's that. Who else we got? Oh, the face says it. Oh, holy moly, that was loud. Oh, the clip of the No One Cares is deceptive. I actually muted. I nerfed the volume by about 8 decibels, but the original recording was peaked as hell. So it still seems like it's mega loud. But it's actually not doing that much damage to your eardrums. No more, in fact, less than my voice is. So there we go. Marx was an Epo baby. Yes, he was. Yes, he was. Lady pain sucks ass. Question, do guys get doddle pain? Doodle pain? Are you talking about penises? No. Not unless you've done something terribly, terribly wrong. Or someone terribly, terribly wrong. MagesGuild, given that is Netflix, I'm shocked that they didn't change their race too. That is interesting, isn't it? They seem to be moving slowly but surely away from race swaps and catching up with the rest of the program. And in doing so, going straight down the androgynous, confusing, male, female, not sure which kind of thing. So there we go. Man getting hit in the groin with football. Yes. Well, obviously that will happen. But basically, there's no time of the month for men, Laura. If you have pain in your nether regions and you are a man, you have done something wrong or someone has kicked you in the balls. It doesn't just sort of hurt for no reason, generally speaking. And if it does, you've caused it somehow, is what I'm saying. Oh, you guys are crazy. I love it. Anyway, there we go. We got quite a lot to talk about. And when I say quite a lot, I mean I don't know, something around like 25 tabs. So I'm going to do my best to get through as much of it as I possibly can. And you guys, if you want to help me out, you know what to do. Your in-flight entertainment can be found and unlocked by clicking the join button and joining the Grift Force. You can fill up this bar and gift memberships to other people. When this bar is filled, I will have to schedule a Jackbox stream for all of you to participate in and play along with me and the rest of the panelists and friends who want to show up. It's always fun. It creates tons of memes and we absolutely love it. Or alternatively, if you just need to pull over for a second because you can't take it anymore and you got to say something that you need me to answer, I'll be very happy to answer. If you tape it to some cash, throw it at my head and fill up this red bar and I will reward you accordingly. That's how it works. So there we go. Anyway, with that said, we got tons and tons and tons to talk about. So let's get into the first subject. I'm afraid it's going to be quite a lot of Charlie Kirk today, because there's so much of everything in the news that is bleeding out of, pardon the unfortunate pun, of the Charlie Kirk story. Everything's connected right now. Everything is related. And this is why it's such an exciting time, of course, but also why YouTubers are having to work overtime. So there you go. Support your YouTubers. Oh, MagesGuild, he gets the program for $5. Says the only good thing that Netflix have done this decade is their adaptation of Bastard, which they managed not to compromise. Advise watching. Yeah, I heard that was really good, actually. Yeah, I might check that out. There's also, of course, the One Piece series that a lot of people are saying is great and wonderful, etc., etc. Personally, myself, I thought it was a valid adaptation. There. It was a valid adaptation. A lot of it was right. They changed some things. And honestly, you don't change things from One Piece because One Piece is a masterpiece. Like, for example, there is nowhere near as much Garp and Cody in the original story. You don't see them at all from the minute they sail off with Zoro to right after the Enies Lobby arc, which is, Jesus, 600, no, 300 or 400 episodes into the anime. So, yeah, it's a long time. But they cast the actors, so they're like, oh, we need to do something with them, don't we? No, you don't. You pay them less, you get them to play the part as it is written, and then you tell them to bugger off until series 5 or something. But there you go, anyway. Although at this rate, it'll probably be series 4 since they're already at Alabasta. Interesting. I guess we'll find out. But anyway, that's enough about that. Thank you for the $5, buddy. Appreciate you as well. Because there is tons to talk about. Because in the wake of Charlie Kirk getting you know what, there has been an ultimate 120 million% mask off moment for the left that has revealed to us the sickness that we've been dealing with in its raw form, the most raw form that we've seen for several years. And as a result of this, cockroaches are crawling out of the woodwork left, right, and center to reveal just exactly how twisted these poor souls are, how evil they've become, and how you must never allow your children to ever engage with any of this sick, disgusting degeneracy. People in every industry of entertainment, the ones I cover anyway, have been coming out and saying, oh, it's a good thing that that happened. And, oh, you know, we should be celebrating it. But then, oh, at the same time, no, it's definitely not our guy. We didn't cause this. It's not one of ours. It's some lone nutcase. Too much of a Trump supporter. Maybe he's a Fuentes guy. Maybe he's a Groiper and he just didn't like Kirk because he wasn't conservative enough. Well, I call bollocks on that one because we can see exactly what this is. Do not insult our intelligence any longer. We're coming for you and we're going to get you. Enough said. And of course, that is exemplified no more so than the massive wave of sudden firings from all the industries we have seen. And let me be the first to say, I do not give a single shred of sympathy to these people whatsoever. There is a colossal, gigantic, titanic difference between the cancel culture of old, where someone will lose their job for a 10-year-old bad comment or some stupid joke they made when they were 17, and they will get unpersoned, rendered unemployable, extradited and ousted from their families, etc., etc. And that was never okay. However, calling for people who actually engage in the sickest and most evil acts you could possibly do on the internet, i.e. cheering for the execution of an innocent man, that sort of stuff, a civilian no less, they probably deserve to have their heads examined. And if you are operating a company where you are allowing these people to get out as a representative of your company and say this kind of sick shit on the internet, you need to be addressing their job status immediately. Sorry, it's not the same thing. And even if it was, I wouldn't care anymore because you went too far. Too far, leftists. The time is coming. The bell is tolling. So let's have a look and see everything that's been going on with the responses and just a sort of general update to all the craziness surrounding the Charlie Kirk thing, and sad that it is, and all of the insanity surrounding it. Let's go. We begin then over here at Kotaku. Of course we do. It's Kotaku. It's one of the most, well, formerly most prolific leftist pop culture vendors of pure garbage that has ever existed. So they are here to be very sad and sympathetic to a monstrous person who got fired for doing something that you deserve to be fired for, reveling in death. Ghost of Yotei dev fired for Charlie Kirk joke after right-wing pressure campaign. Oh, it's a right-wing pressure campaign, guys. You know what? Yeah, it is. And tough. Too bad. We don't care anymore. I'm not even that right-wing. But if you want to call me that, I don't care. Fine. Sure, I'll team up with the right to get rid of you. No problem. Don't try to use this language in the same way that you did anymore. A good man is dead and it's your fault, all of you. So there's that. Anyway, here we go. Gamergate 2.0, that's us, is looking to cancel people in the wake of assassination. Yeah, we are. Yeah, about time you found out, huh? What it's like. A contingent of right-wing online figures and their followers have been using the recent blah 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 of conservative podcaster Charlie Kirk to punish people they don't like. No. Punish people who do sick things. Like, for example, Drew Harrison, who we all saw before. Drew Harrison was the person whose Twitter Blue Sky profile rather was exposed for having tweeted out that he hoped that the shooter's name would be Mario so that Luigi of Mangione fame would know his bro has got his back. What a lovely sentiment. You're fired because you're scum. Any further questions? No? They're attacking Madame Savvy, of course, as well, because they get their info from, well, you know who. And, of course, it goes on. Is the person, Drew Harrison, who apparently is a woman, said, if standing up against fascism is what cost me my dream job I held for 10 years, I would do it again 100 times stronger. Well, you see, here's the thing. It's not fascism. It's never been fascism. It was never fascism. This is the big problem with the left, you see. They have been for so long now allowed to fester in their little echo chambers and just tell each other that anyone who disagrees with them about issues like immigration or abortion or euthanasia or foreign wars or anything like that is a fascist. When the reality of the matter is the people who put a bullet in your throat for talking and being too good at arguing with them are the fascists. And if you can't see that, well, the problem is, you see, you're so far from reality now, thanks to your Marxist indoctrination, that you literally see the opposite of morality, in total inversion of morality. And that is all kinds of screwed up. Master of the TDS was very effective at sharing with us a bunch of stuff related to this. From Blue Sky, we can see loads and loads and loads of of people going absolutely mental and deciding that it's time for the left to boycott Ghost of Yotei now, which is hilarious because the right and the center-right libs and gamers in general are also boycotting this game for being woke. For being woke and offensive, and for hiring this person and not doing anything about it at first. But now that they've fired him, are we going to undo the boycott? No, the game is already a massive insult to our intelligence. So at the end of the day, they are now being felted by both the left and the right. Someone here says, time to boycott Ghost of Yotei and Sony until they reinstate the artist. Why are you capitulating to the far right? Because it's not the far right. It's the common sense center. Your game star is someone Charlie Kirk would have wanted to. Charlie Kirk didn't want anyone to. He never did, and you decided to do it to him instead. He, no matter what he said, never advocated for anyone to lose their lives, ever. Ghost of Yotei being published by fascist collaborators. Again, you're living in a dream world. You're living in a fake world. Sorry, but we're going to have to snap you back into reality one way or another. Letting Drew go was a dick move. Ghost of Yotei can haunt someone else's console. Hope it fails. Folks whining and whinging about Ghost of Yotei because of one now former dev making a funny, pathetic losers. No, it's not making a funny. It's just not. A man was murdered. Okay? Murdered. In cold blood by one of yours. By a radical from your side. And of course, they'll try everything to argue with that. But, you know, in the meantime, here's the original post, of course, where he posted the hope the shooter's name was Mario, etc. But we can move on from there. Then, of course, we come to this, where we've seen JD Vance getting some under fire, but he is, of course, leading the charge. JD Vance, the other day, actually hosted the Charlie Kirk show. He was the first person to do it. It was really surreal to watch the Charlie Kirk show go live at all. Even more surreal when the titles opened up to reveal the vice president of the country sitting at his desk hosting the show for him, for his friend. He said he went off on people who are calling for unity with radical leftists. There's no unity with people who scream at children over their parents' politics. No unity with someone who lies about what Charlie Kirk said in order to excuse his murder. No unity with someone who harasses an innocent family the day after the father of that family lost a dear friend. No unity with the people who celebrate Charlie Kirk's assassination. Sorry, that time is over. It's time for these people to realize what happens when you push too far. We have been kind. We have tolerated everything they have said. And what has happened, a generation of people is basically lost to us. It's beyond the pale at this point. Of course, then there has been a massive galvanizing to, frankly, destabilize and demoralize and uproot and destroy all of these progressive groups, which is what they get called in democracy docket, but what they really are, of course, is domestic terrorists. We had, of course, during the Charlie Kirk show that was hosted by JD Vance, lots of people who popped in for guest spots to pay tribute to Charlie and all of his work and all of the great things that he had done. We saw plenty of chiefs of staff. We had Caroline Levitt. We also had Stephen Miller, who is the Department of Justice guy. And he said, somebody's paying for this. This isn't happening for free. And under the president's direction, the attorney general is going to find out who's paying for it. And now they'll be criminally liable for paying for violence. Now, unfortunately, there's been a colossal screw up with this because Pam Bondi went out earlier on and said, oh, if you are doing hate speech, we're going to come for you. No. No, Pam. No, Donald. Hate speech does not exist. This is not hate speech. Okay? This is incitement of violence, the actual one. Not the one that they claim you do when you laugh at something offensive on the internet or point out that tranoids are insane. That's not incitement of violence. What we are seeing is actual incitement to violence. People are calling for the heads of Matt Walsh, Ben Shapiro, J.K. Rowling, Trump, of course, Vance, of course, and everybody else who was ever friendly with any of them. It cannot stand. So, you know, there you go. Sucker punch. They're having to fire this person, which has now drawn the ire of the left as well as the right. The trailer went out. The last time I checked, it was at something like 12,000 likes to over 30,000 dislikes. That's not a good sign for this game that's coming out, what, next week or something? It's going to be really, really bad for Ghost of Yotei. But hey, you played a stupid game, you win a stupid prize. Of course, there's also the Bethesda situation as well. They went out and, well, they didn't do anything about the person, but they certainly deleted the video where we saw someone post a video where Indiana Jones walks up to a cat, and in the video clip, the cat, it meows and sort of recoils from him, and he says, "Oh, you don't care much about these fascists, do you?" And the original poster had posted "Good Kitty." Now, you might think that's a bit of a dog whistle, but it's not. Further, we have the artist who's been drawing Sonic the Hedgehog art for IDW for multiple years, this person called Gigi Dutry or whatever, who was also, I think, fired. No, just got backlash at this point for numerous tweets and image shares, basically calling out anything that was counter to her narrative, but at the same time cheering for people making a Charlie Kirk playlist to celebrate his death, saying she loved it, supporting the idea that bricks are there to build communities, but also for throwing at cops and lots of other stuff like that, as well as also recommending cheese pizza to children. So there we go. We do have some good news to end us on, though. I'm not going to play the video clip. You definitely want to go and find this, though. But Greg Gutfeld has had enough. He absolutely went ballistic at Jessica Tarlov, who is a liberal, for trying to use this argument that it's both sides that need to calm the temperature down. Sorry, wrong. There has never been more than one group that have been doing this. It's always been the left. It has always been the left. They're the ones threatening, they're the ones censoring, and now they're the ones murdering. Find me an example of a right-wing person actually doing that. You can't. Not without some serious leaps of logic. And unfortunately for you guys, leaps of logic are no longer going to cut it. The real world is going to fight back and win, because there are hashtag way more of us. So there you go, guys. That is where we're at currently with everything that's been going insane. As James Opp points out for $2 here, thank you, James Opp, says it is not right-wing to condemn psychopaths. No, it is not right-wing to condemn psychopaths. It is, in fact, just based as fuck. There's nothing whatsoever wrong with condemning psychopaths. There just isn't. It is, in fact, well, it's what you might call God's work, wouldn't you? At the end of the day, that's what we're dealing with here. We are looking at a situation where half of the country, half of America, it's not even the country, it's the world. We have them here now in the Philippines. It's just made it here, just in time for it all to get felted. But yeah, no, we are at the point now, you might even say the turning point, where we all realize that this cannot stand, this cannot go on. It has to end. It has to be stopped by force if necessary. It has to end, and it has to end bloody soon. So, you know, there we go. That's basically all there is to say about that. Thank you for the $2 though, man. Appreciate you. Let's see what some of you guys were saying about. Yeah. Let's see. Did she get suspended from Fox? I don't know. I mean, I don't think she works for Fox. Does she? Was she working for Fox when she was doing that? Because I know they get guests on. Oh yeah. She is actually a host, but she's a liberal host. Yeah, he just had enough. Just had enough. To be honest, I've been seeing this coming for quite a while with Gutfeld. His jokes have been getting edgier and edgier and edgier, and he needed a vent. Bless his heart. He's disgusted by this. And yeah, Pam Bondi, that's a shit show, isn't it? That is. I mean, I saw a post earlier on, and I saw Trump saying the same thing too, which is no good, guys. No good. You can't be saying you're going after hate speech. All right, you're not going after hate speech because hate speech doesn't actually exist. I mean, maybe you could say the N-word is hate speech. Maybe. But basically everything else is just slightly offensive language. And there is a world of difference between offensive language and bullets. Bullets fired into people's throats. And yet they continue with this ridiculous narrative. On and on and on they go, over and over again. They just keep going on. The left will not stop trying to pin the blame for the untimely demise of Charlie Kirk on some kind of right-wing psycho who was activated by groypers and didn't like Charlie Kirk because he wasn't conservative enough. I mean, the guy was literally a religious figure, like almost. He was extremely devout in his faith. That is fairly right-wing. Certainly he was more right-wing than most, but in the most benign and passive way that allowed people to get their word in and talk to him. And now that day is over because somebody put a bullet in his throat. And who did it then? Well, let's see. The left would have you believe the evidence that they have is that his father raised him to be conservative, and that one of the bullets had a gay joke engraved in it. Okay. On the other side, there's the case for him being a leftist, which is that he is a furry supporting, trans dating, anti-fascist who openly hated Charlie Kirk for being conservative and told people this all the time and belonged to a Discord server full of people like him. There's also the fact that he, killed Charlie Kirk. Like, what are we arguing about here? The guy's so transparently a leftist. But just in case you don't believe me, we have the charges now. So we can see exactly what will be the fate, well, the potential fate of Tyler Robinson, a.k.a. the Charlie Kirk shooter. So let's take a look. 1 second, guys. I need to freshen my throat. There we go. All right. Okay, welcome back, everybody. We are here now looking at this, which is the statement, the legal document pertaining to the prosecution of Tyler Robinson, the man who deleted Charlie Kirk and broke all our hearts. Now, some people are saying we should be gentle on him. I don't know why they would say that. Others are saying that it's a good job it's in Utah because they can even use the firing squad there. There's a lot. There's a lot. And this will no doubt get the channel even more shadow banned than it already is, but it needs to be said, so we're going down there and we're going to talk about it. And to be fair, right now, YouTube really doesn't want to be playing political games. Not right now, buddy. Not with the eyes that are on everything right now. But anyway, here we are in the 4th Judicial District Court, Utah County, state of Utah. We have the plaintiff, of course, Tyler James Robinson, who is the defendant. There is no bail, so he is going to be held with no bail until his trial date. The state of Utah and through the Utah County Attorney's Office charges the defendant with the commission of the following offenses. Count 1, aggravated murder. Capital felony, blah, blah, blah. He intentionally or knowingly caused the death of Charlie Kirk. Defendant knowingly created a great deal of risk to another individual other than Charlie Kirk and the defendant. Conviction may carry the death penalty or imprisonment for life without parole, or an indeterminate term of not less than 25 years that may be for life. I mean, if you want to leave him to rot in a jail cell for the rest of his life, maybe, but what would be the point? What would be the point? Anyway, this guy's already proven that he is inhuman. So it's a terrible shame. And to the father, you have my sympathies. It must have taken some gigantic balls to turn in your own son. Don't know how you did that. but then they are Mormons, so maybe they were compelled to in the name of their Lord, you know? I don't know. I don't understand all that stuff. Victim targeting enhancement. In violation of Utah code, Tyler Robertson intentionally selected Charlie Kirk because of his belief or perception regarding Charlie Kirk's political expression. There we go. A violent offense committed in the presence of a child, aggravating factor. We know for a fact that Charlie Kirk's children were there, and lots of under 21 college students as well, who are not technically children, but there's going to be more than a few children on that site. Count 2, felony discharge of a firearm causing serious bodily injury. First degree felony. Yep. I mean, he's objectively guilty of that. I mean, they have everything from his confessions, multiple that they are, right up until his prints and stuff on the gun, which we know because he was worried about that, which we'll find out in the most conclusive evidence, by the way, that he is not a conservative. All right, where are we at? Let's keep going. Count 3, obstruction of justice. Second degree felony. Tyler Robertson went with intent to hinder, delay, or prevent the investigation, apprehension, prosecution, conviction, or punishment of any person regarding conduct that constitutes a criminal offense, concealed or removed the firearm used to shoot Charlie Kirk, and that conduct that constitutes an offense would be a capital felony or first degree felony. Count 4, obstruction of justice again. Went with intent to hinder, delay, or prevent the investigation, apprehension, prosecution, conviction, or punishment of any person regarding the conduct that constitutes a criminal offense, destroyed, concealed, or removed the clothing he wore during the shooting. Oh dear. Count 5, tampering with a witness. Tyler Robertson believed that an official proceeding or investigation was pending or about to be instituted, or intended to prevent an official proceeding with or investigation, attempted to induce or otherwise cause his roommate to withhold testimony, information, a document, an item, to wit, directing his roommate to delete incriminating text messages. Yikes. Number 6, tampering again with a witness. Tyler Robertson, attempted to induce or otherwise cause his roommate to withhold testimony or information, directing his roommate to stay silent if the police were questioning him. I say him because even though he's a trans, I mean, that's what this is all about in the first place, isn't it? So there we go. Shout out to you guys in the chat. Count 7, violent offense committed in the presence of a child, a class A misdemeanor. So, of course, if they can't get the first one, they'll get the second one, but they'll get the first one because Charlie Kirk is dead. You know, committed criminal homicide in the physical presence of a younger child than 14 years old with knowledge the child was present and may have seen or heard the commission of the criminal homicide. Very, very bad. Very, very bad. So there you go. 7 charges. Yikes. To be fair, they only need one, the first one. And they have the first one, it seems. To be honest, from what I've seen of this, it would be an act of God if he wasn't convicted of aggravated murder. Or an act of Soros, maybe. Tyrannosaurus. Anyway, let's move on then. We can go through all of this. There's plenty to read. Plenty that you can go through if you want to. But I'm not here to spend all the time in the world on this. We have other things we need to get on with. So we will go to the most important part, which is the part that destroys the left-wing narrative that this was anything other than a leftist that did the job. Okay, so obviously we have the cartridges in and or fired out of the rifle in question. We have the fired cartridge that says "Notices bulge." Oh whoa, what's this? Or awoo, or ooh, I don't bloody know. I ain't a furry. Second cartridge, hey fascist, catch. Great. Third cartridge, Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao, Ciao, Ciao. Obviously from the song Ciao, Bella Ciao, which is a wartime Italian anti-Yahtzee song. Well, actually it's not, but it was used as that. It's also been featured in other things like the TV show Money Heist, and various other things that leftists like because they perceive it to be them that is the rebellion. Insanity. It's an Antifa thing. Yes, it's an Antifa thing that has been widely known to be associated with Antifa for a long time now. So there's that. Fourth cartridge. If you read this, you are gay, LMAO. Now, I wonder genuinely, is that a red herring? Is that a deliberate attempt to steer the investigation in the wrong direction? If so, haha, it hasn't worked. And nobody who read it is gay. Unless they were in the first place, which is fine. Anyway, we get to the roommate then. We could in fact go through the whole investigation. On the evening of September the 11th, 2025, a law enforcement continued their investigation, went to the Washington County. Tyler James Robinson went to the Washington County Sheriff's Office with his parents and a family friend to turn himself in. His mother stated the following: the day after the shooting, she saw the photo of the shooter and thought the shooter looked like her son. She called her son and asked him where he was. He said he was homesick, and he'd been homesick since September 10th. She expressed concern to her husband that the suspected shooter looked like Robinson, and he agreed. She explains, his mother, that over the last year or so, Robinson had become more political and started to lean more to the left, becoming more pro-gay and trans rights oriented. I wonder why he was a trans activist. She stated that Robinson had begun to date his roommate, a biological male who was transitioning genders. Oh no. This resulted in several discussions with family members, but especially between Robinson and his father, who have very different political views. If one conversation before the shooting, Robinson mentioned that Charlie Kirk would be holding an event at UVU, which Robinson said was a stupid venue for the event. Robinson accused Kirk of spreading hate, which of course he never did. If you hate something he said, he would give you an opportunity to talk it out with him. He was the best of us. He was the one that actually listened to what the left was saying. Let's have the conversation, guys. And then you took away the conversation. Your side, not ours. Robinson's father reported that when his wife showed him the surveillance footage of the suspected shooter, he agreed it looked like the son. Also believed the rifle was given to his son as a gift. As a result, he contacted his son and asked him to send a photo of the rifle. He did not respond. He spoke to him on the phone. He implied that he planned to take his own life. They were able to convince him to meet at their home. After they discussed the situation, Robinson implied that he was the shooter and stated that he couldn't go to jail and just wanted to end it. When asked why he did it, Robinson explained there's too much evil and Charlie Kirk spreads hate. No, Charlie Kirk was love. He was about as benevolent as a man can possibly be. They talked about Robinson turning himself in and convinced Robinson to speak with a family friend who's a retired deputy sheriff. Oh, I thought it was a pastor. That's interesting. At Robinson's father's request, the family friend met with Robinson and his parents and convinced Robinson to turn himself in. Family friend spoke to police and reported telling Robinson that it would be best if he brought all evidence with him to the sheriff's office to avoid police having to search his parents' home. Family friend also asked Robinson if he had any clothes related to what he did. He said that he had disposed of the clothes in different areas. The roommate then. So, in case you're not convinced yet from the testimony of all these people that this guy's not a conservative, well, they interviewed the roommate, a biological male involved in a romantic relationship with Robinson. The roommate told police that the roommate received messages from Robinson about the shooting and provided those messages to the police. Hey, you might be a trans, but good on you for doing the right thing. September the 10th, the roommate received a text message from Robinson, which said, drop what you're doing and look under my keyboard. The roommate looked under the keyboard and found a note stated, I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk and I'm going to take it. Police found a photograph of this note. Following text exchange then took place. After reading the note, the roommate responded, what? You're joking, right? Robinson. Now, I'll try not to make this too sappy, but this is the trans Romeo and Juliet right here. Says, I'm still okay, my love, but I'm stuck in Orem for a little while longer yet. Shouldn't be long until I can come home, but I got to grab my rifle still. To be honest, I'd hope to keep this a secret till I died of old age. I'm sorry to involve you. You are naive as fuck, buddy. You weren't the one who did it, right? I am. I'm sorry. I thought they caught the person. No, they grabbed some crazy old dude, then interrogated someone in similar clothing. I planned to grab my rifle from my drop point shortly after, but most of that side of town got locked down. It's quiet, almost enough to get out, but there's one vehicle lingering. Why? Why did I do it? I had enough of his hatred. So confused. The opposite of morality right here. Some hate still can't be negotiated out. If I'm able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have no evidence. I will have left no evidence. Going to attempt to retrieve it again. Hopefully they have moved on. I haven't seen anything about them finding it. Roommate, how long have you been planning this? Robertson, a bit over a week, I believe. I can get close to it, but there's a squad car parked right by it. I think they already swept that spot, but I don't want to chance it. Robinson continues, I'm wishing I'd circled back and grabbed it as soon as I got to my vehicle. I'm worried what my old man would do if I didn't bring back Grandpa's rifle. I don't even know if it had a serial number, but it wouldn't trace to me. I worry about Prince. I had to leave it in a bush where I changed outfits, didn't have the ability or time to bring it with. I might have to abandon it and hope they don't find Prince. How the fuck will I explain losing it to my old man? That's what you're worried about? The stuff got deleted. Yeah, that's redactions, yeah. Yeah. Well, sometimes it's redactions. Usually if it's redacted, they put it in square brackets with the dots. Sometimes it's just to display the passage of time. Like they stopped texting for several minutes and then continued the conversation. But either or, you know, whatever. The relevant is here and it's enough. Robinson says, yeah, blah, blah, blah. He's worried about his fucking dad getting angry with him for losing his granddad's gun. Says, only thing I left was the rifle wrapped in a towel. Remember how I was engraving bullets? The fucking messages are mostly a big meme. If I see notices bulge ooh-woo on Fox News, I might have a stroke. All right, I'm going to have to leave it. This really fucking sucks. Yeah, leftist memes. Furry memes. Judging from today, I'd say Grandpa's gun does just fine. I don't know. I think that was a $2,000 scope. Then later says, delete this exchange. My dad wants photos of the rifle. He says Grandpa wants to know who had what. The feds released a photo of the rifle and it is very unique. He's calling me right now, not answering. Since Trump got into office, and here's your like edit in the square brackets, my dad. That's been edited. Since Trump got into office, my dad has been pretty diehard MAGA. Yeah, because MAGA just means make America great again. It's not Nazism. It's not fascism. He says, I'm going to turn myself in willingly. One of my neighbors here is a deputy for the sheriff. You are all I worry about, love. Roommate finally texts back. I'm much more worried about you. Robinson says, don't talk to the media, please. Don't take any interviews or make any comments. If any police ask you questions, ask for a lawyer and stay silent. That's not what happened. So there you go. The full, debatably, edited or abridged or maybe unabridged text flow between the killer and his trans boyfriend / girlfriend / I don't care anymore. It's a man. There you go. This is the stuff that goes on and the stuff that led up to and the fallout from the murder of Charlie Kirk. While we were all texting each other going, what the hell happened? How did this happen? Where the, you know, this was going on. I think they have enough, more than enough, to be honest, to be able to put this guy in the ground. It's a terrible shame for his family. But to be honest, I imagine, based on something someone said to me yesterday, that given that they're Mormons and his father was the one who told him to turn himself in, it's likely his father has already come to some terms with the loss of his son. A little bit like Elon Musk with his son, who became a trans woman. That's a man, baby. That's all there is to say about that. Yeah, it's pretty bleak, isn't it, guys? It's pretty brutal. Pretty fucking brutal. Charlie Kirk died for our democracy. The Democrats are clearly a threat to it. Yeah, the Democrats in name only. Dino. They are, in fact, totalitarians. They're authoritarians. They're Marxists. They're communists. They're fascists. Because you can't actually be all those things at the same time. And most communists end up fascist. Oh, Jesus Christ. There you go. That's about as bleak as we're going to get today. From here on out, it's going to be laughing at celebrities and video games getting felted. Excuse me. So there we go. In the meantime, Smash JT jumps in off the top rope for 5 Grift Force memberships going green for the princesses of the fans and getting us every little bit closer to the next Jackbox game. Yeah. Love to see it. Thank you very much, buddy. Love to see it. Thank you so much, mate. Go green for the princess. Sis. We are at 10 out of 50 now, so that's nice. Thank you very much, Smash. This is an ongoing members goal, guys. The faster we get there, the sooner I will schedule another Jackbox stream. In the meantime, you can submit super chats and whatever to fill up the red bar. That's just for today. And I'll be responding to these now. Sardoc Spamfish jumps in for £10 and says this crazy old dude was supposed to be a distraction so that Robinson could escape. Yeah, I don't know if there was any coordination between them. I don't think so. I think that the dude is just that much of a radical that when it happened, he decided to go and throw himself in to mess with the police and potentially give the actual shooter a chance to get away. Which means that you don't have to be a 22-year-old impressionable youth to be a radicalized Marxist communist scumbag. Also, as we've discovered in the very beginning of this stream, they went through the old man's phone and found a lot of cheese pizza on it. Grim. There you go. As you said, they checked the old dude's phone. Yes, you guessed it. Cheese pizza. I swear every leftist is a PDF file. It's really starting to look that way. The pattern is there. It's bleak to say. You know, you almost don't want to admit it, but it's overwhelming. You know what I mean? It really is an overwhelming thing that there's no smoke without fire. You know, if it walks like a woke and quacks like a woke, it's a woke. And if it has cheese pizza on its phone, you know, like Destiny and all the others, arrest them. What a time to be dealing with stuff like this. It's turning into every single thing every conspiracy theorist has ever said, every conspiracy theory that every conspiracy theorist has ever said about the left, about their suspicions, about how bad it could be. They're all coming true, one by one. It's awful.
Drop it. Yeah.
I love it. Need a bit of water there. Good for the old vocal muscles. DramaticaLaur for an Australian 2 says, if we don't play games again this week, I will die. There you go. DramaticaLaur, you can be the cheerleader, get people to fill up this bar. There you go. And then that, well, at least the member bar. At least that way we will do another Jackbox. It's supposed to be both bars in one stream, but the demand is getting really high, so I've kind of relaxed it a little. We just need to fill the top bar. And at any point when the top bar goes blue, we will address the situation and either extend whatever stream it is, or if I need to go be a dad or something, then we'll be back with another stream very, very soon. But help out DramaticaLaur, send some memberships, help others to become green as well. And we'll all have a good laugh when this is all over. But there you go, guys. That is the situation with Tyler Robinson. We have the charges, we have the evidence, we have the texts between him and his Tranoid boyfriend, girlfriend thing. And it's looking conclusive, to say the least. I don't think it'll take them long. And I don't know what fate will befall him, but I do know that in Utah, firing squad is a is a viable method of death penalty. And would be, you know, I wouldn't not ironic. That would not be ironic. It would be just desserts. Okay, well, there we go. In the meantime, let's have a bit more fun. Shall we, guys? Shall we try to lighten up a little bit? I think that would be a good idea. It does get a little dark around here, and as I have tried to maintain after the initial stream where we all talked about Charlie, we were dead serious and we gave our condolences and our tributes as best we could, such as they are for such as who we are. You know, you have to get back to serendipitous Smash JT. That's a good one. Although it would be by design, so it would be more like poetic justice. But that's also true too. I mean, the fact that it's in Utah at all is the serendipity there. But yeah, to be fair, if it was put up to a public vote, I think that guy's getting a blindfold tied around his mouth, his head, and a cigarette placed in his mouth. But there we go. But let's get back to some of our random normal MO of Will of the Fans and laugh at some stupid Hollywood people, because I don't know if you've heard, but celebrities in Hollywood are really, really stupid. They're really stupid. Like, they are bafflingly unintelligent, ill-informed, just stupid. But beyond that, they're also incredibly addicted to the act of virtue signaling. You see, they seem to have all decided quite a while ago to be about as benign as leftists can be, but never shut up about whatever cause they care about, blah, blah, blah. And of course, it's always the causes that lead to people getting radicalized and ultimately committing atrocities like we've seen in the last week. But of course, what they really care about is themselves. They really care about themselves, their silly causes, and themselves. And, well, that's why they have these terrible award shows, like the Emmys that I bet you don't even know just recently happened. Well, it turns out that there were a couple of instances in the Emmys of celebrities making themselves look even dumber than usual. So, if you are looking for a little silver lining of laughter in this bleak, bleak world this week, step right this way. All right, here we are. We are at the Emmys 2025, an event I can assure you nobody cares about.
I don't really care, Margaret.
And of course, we have Elizabeth Banks, formerly someone everyone would. Now, most of us probably wouldn't. But she is quite the diseased mind of leftist feminism, as it turns out. And even when she's trying to, like, you know, get away from the radical left uniform that she's been looking for the last few years now and get back to looking feminine again, she still can't help but virtue signal. So what happened? I'm sure you've already read the headline by now. I wish they hadn't put it there. Elizabeth Banks just had her second major award show faceplant at the Emmys, and this one might be even funnier than the last. At the 2025 Emmy Awards, Banks was tapped to present Outstanding Directing for a limited or anthology series or movie. That is niche. That is a niche topic. That is a niche category. Like, really, really, really niche. It's like, yeah, so outstanding direction while the planets have aligned on the 13th Wednesday after Pentecost. You know, just fucking who cares? But celebrities do. They want their flowers. Rather than simply introduce the nominees and let the moment speak for itself, rather, she tried to make it into a feminist statement. Banks proudly pointed out that 5 of the 6 nominees were women, touting it as a big cultural milestone. Oh yeah, it was pure cringe. It was pure Elizabeth Banks, vintage Elizabeth Banks feminist cringe. That's exactly what it was. True cringe. And, well, what happened? Well, of the 6 nominees, 5 of whom were women, well, the man won, didn't he? Cue the punchline. The one man nominated Philip Barantini for Adolescence immediately won. Which actually answers the question of whether or not the celebrities know what's inside the envelope before they start speaking. Either she knew who was inside and decided to make an idiot of herself on purpose, touting feminism all this time. Oh, that's so great that there are 5 females in all that rubbish. Or she is a bonehead who didn't know that she was about to read out a man's name and throw her entire cause under the bus. Either way, it's not a great day to be Elizabeth Banks. I think we can all agree on that. You love to see it. You love to see it. So Banks set the stage for a triumph of female representation, only to have reality instantly deliver the opposite outcome. Mwah! Beautiful. But let's not forget, this isn't the first time. See what she looks. She used to look a lot worse than she does now. You got to say. I mean, that at least we can give her is an improvement. All right. But anyway, this isn't the first time Elizabeth Banks. Maybe you remember. If you've been in this game as long as I have, you will remember. This isn't the first time Elizabeth Banks has tried to lecture Hollywood and wound up embarrassing herself. Back in 2017, she called out Steven Spielberg and the women in Film Crystal and Lucy Awards, declaring that he had never made a movie with a female lead. Uh-oh. Until everybody remembered that The Color Purple exists. You dumbass bitch. One of Spielberg's most celebrated films, which featured Whoopi Goldberg, Margaret Avery, and Oprah Winfrey as the lead. So 3 women of color. Actually, don't know about Avery, but sounds maybe. Banks was immediately fact-checked, and the backlash was so bad she had to apologize. In other words, Elizabeth Banks tried to score points with a gotcha against Steven Spielberg, only to get schooled on cinema history. Fast forward to 2025, and she tried to do the same with the Emmys, and the humiliation was delivered live in front of millions of viewers. But it doesn't end there, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't end there. Because you see, I don't know how to pronounce this guy's name, but the Nate Bargatze, I don't know. He had decided that he was going to do something to make a joke out of Hollywood narcissism and also contribute money to an excellent cause. And actually a good guy here among a bunch of scorpions. Okay. He set up a clever gimmick where Hollywood celebrity winners could either help raise money for kids in need, or if they couldn't keep their mouths shut, siphon funds away. Interesting, right? And guess what happened? Well, Hollywood Emmy speeches proved exactly why so many people can't stand award shows anymore. So here's how it works. Bargatze announced before the ceremony that he was pledging $100,000 to the Boys and Girls Clubs of America. Beautiful sentiment, much respect. The twist? A charity clock would track every winner's speech. If a speech came in under 45 seconds, then each leftover second, so if you did like 30 seconds, you'd have 15 left over. Each leftover second would add $1,000 to the charity pot. If a speech went over 45 seconds, however, each extra second would subtract $1,000. Okay? So they would have to go 100 seconds over to completely empty the pot. Okay? It gets worse. But before we go all the way down into the doom and gloom, there is a happy ending, okay, for the charity, so don't worry. Don't worry about that. But let's just enjoy the ride, okay? So, the goal was simple: encourage brevity, raise money for kids, and keep the show moving. A win-win. In theory, Hollywood celebrities who just often claim to be charitable people that are looking out for the little guy had to keep their acceptance speeches within a reasonable time frame to not bloviate and blather on with self-aggrandizing or political statements. Very nice. Great way to do it. They should institute this in every awards show forever and ever and ever from now on. You can probably tell where it's going. It started off promising. Seth Rogen, who is known for going long, actually came in short and by 6 seconds and boosted the fund to $106,000. I mean, the guy is a leftist nutcase and a pain in the ass to listen to, and his laugh is absurd, but clearly he knows how to act virtuous rather than just signal it from time to time. I was as surprised as anybody else from the man who tried to destroy Christmas, but there you go. Actress Hannah Einbinder blew past the time limit with a political rant, dragging the total down. Her speech touched on immigration enforcement and Palestine, a detour from the night's supposed purpose of entertainment and charity. She dragged it down to 92,000. Shit. Okay. John Oliver. Sorry. I know. I'm sorry. I'm British and it's our fault that he escaped. We should have just contained him on Mock the Week where he got minimal laughs and never really did anything of any note. But, you know, it is what it is. Anyway, he tried to speed read his words like a man in a sprint, clearly aware of the gimmick, but not saving the cause. And from there, the hits just kept coming. Emmy after Emmy, star after star, the Hollywood speeches ran long. By the time the producers stopped tracking the charity clock, as in they gave up, the charity clock had collapsed into the red. That means the original balance of 100K gone. Reports differ on just how bad it got. Some outlets pegged the deficit around 25,000, while others claimed it sank closer to 60,000. What the fuck happened there? 60,000. Can you still hear me, everybody? $60,000. Astonishing. That is astonishing. Who the hell would go on that long when you are literally wasting charities, children's time and money? Anyway, it doesn't matter at the end because the host himself and CBS were not about to let the Boys and Girls Clubs get stiffed because of Hollywood self-indulgence. At the end of the night, CBS pledged $100,000 and Nate himself personally added another $250,000. So the charity made out with $350 million. But how high could it have gone? 500? 6? I don't know. You'd have to actually have watched the Emmys to find out. Nobody watched the Emmys, though. However, there you go. But so the moral of the story is Hollywood celebrities are every bit as narcissistic, useless, and selfish as we have always suspected. But hey, you already knew that. So, par for the course, really, isn't it? Anyway, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. That was your Hollywood laughter for the day. Crazy one. Certainly was. Absolutely insane. There we go. Cookie Kaiju says, I'm surprised they fit into the building with those egos of theirs. Exactly. Did we get any super chats during that? No. Oh, well, guess we're felted then. Oh, well. Anyway, there we go. We can move on. We have another slightly depressing one, but also slightly funny as well. And we'll get to it right now. Speaking of Hollywood celebrities, Jamie Lee Curtis has been in the news again. And no, it's not because she's been virtue signaling about her tranoid child, or although it's an adult actually, or any other cringe, insufferable left-wing take. In fact, this time it's something a little bit more serious and something that will no doubt net her no small amount of sympathy from those of us to the right of Karl Marx. No matter how far right that might be. For me, not very much. She has, in fact, had a human take. I know. Baffling, isn't it? When she was facing the circumstances of the removal of Charlie Kirk from this earth, disgusting that is, she actually started crying. She acknowledged that she didn't agree with a lot of what he said, but that no one deserves this, that he's a husband and a father. In other words, she had the take that everybody should have had. Proving that she may be ideologically possessed, but she is no radicalized, captured puppet. so good for her. Not so good for her is the fact that her own faction has viciously turned on her and started calling her a fascist, a Zionist, a blah, 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 blah. So let's take a look at Jamie Lee, who, by the way, doesn't deserve that much sympathy because she has said some really disgusting things in the past. And just acknowledge that this is what happens when you F around. You're going to find out. Okay, here we go. We're at Yahoo Entertainment because, to be quite honest with you, it's very difficult to find an unbiased source on this at the moment. So that's where we are. Jamie Lee Curtis catches heat, understatement, for crying over abhorrent Charlie Kirk's death. Always on the wrong side of history. This comes from Fiyin Olowokandi. Beautiful British name. So she broke down in tears because, you know, human beings are human beings, okay? Just like Arnold Schwarzenegger before or J.K. Rowling, sometimes a broken clock is right. Especially in the case of Schwarzenegger, who's been getting more and more based lately. But let's not forget the crap he's pulled too. In the meantime, though, let's get into it. So, fans are not buying Jamie Lee Curtis's display of emotion over Charlie Kirk's death. Haven't heard much of that. I think everybody's pretty clear that she was objectively in tears. You know, she did actually sound fairly distraught, if you've heard the audio. She shed tears over the political activist's gruesome deletion, saying that his, and I'm sorry for downplaying the language, by the way, but it is still YouTube. Understand that my heart is absolutely shattered over this, and I am furious with the righteous fury of 1,000 boiling suns. But I have to do what I have to do for the algorithm. Saying that his, takeout has been heavy on her mind. Despite her raw display of emotions, Curtis is catching the heat from fans who believe her sympathy is out of touch and misplaced. Well, that's an understatement again. She was featured on the most recent episode of WTF. Hey, that's gimmick infringement with Mark Maron. During the discussion, she spoke about Charlie Kirk's assassination, noting that although she didn't agree with his principles, his deletion was tragic. She said, "I disagreed with him on almost every point I ever heard him say, but I believe he was a man of faith. And I hope in that moment when he died," this is where she was crying, "that he felt connected with his faith." To be honest, I'm sure he did. I'm sure he did. I think if anyone went down in the Will of D style, internally with probably a smile on his face, it would have been Charlie Kirk. But at the same time, leaving his kids behind like that, I don't know, man. I don't know. When I think about those poor children, it makes me want to do things that would get me in big trouble and say things that would ensure that I'm never here for you to see again. So 66-year-old actress got so emotional she began to cry, sniffing through tears. She called him a man of faith and hoped his faith served as a source of comfort for him in his final moments. Even though I find what his ideals were abhorrent to me. Don't say shit like that. Don't say shit like that. There's nothing abhorrent about being pro-baby, about accepting the scientific reality that your DNA is coded from the second of conception. Thus, you exist. That's truth. He was just very good at bringing harsh truths and explaining them in ways that could be very convincing to people who are otherwise being confused and radicalized by the writings of Jacques Derrida, Michel Foucault, and a billion woke college professors. He was the antidote, and they took him down. So there we go. Unfortunately, she's had an awful lot of backlash to this. We've seen quite a few, obviously, in her Instagram. It was pretty bad. It was pretty bloody bleak, actually, Here's someone posted, "Jamie Lee Curtis, a rabid lefty BLM LGBTQ advocate, is now a conservative racist for not celebrating the murder of Charlie Kirk beyond parody." From Pop Bass, Jamie Lee Curtis fought back tears over Charlie Kirk's on the WTF podcast. And the quote here from a butterfly, so a blue sky, who's on X. A Zionist, what? In what? There is no evidence of that whatsoever. And now a conservative racist. Why would anyone accuse Jamie Lee Curtis of being a... I mean, she did trans her son. But that's not... I don't know. And Damian chimed in, said, further proof you'll never be enough for far leftists when it comes to anything. You should give them the clothes on your back and they'll be offended you didn't offer them your organs too. Yep. All of her posturing and insane takes over the years gone in an instant, crushed in the lefty purity maelstrom. As a lesson here, it's never enough. When you step out of line, all their self-flagellation and nonsense you've espoused for however long will mean nothing. Critical thinking is not allowed on the left. They must all spew the same talking points or they're kicked out of the cult. Yeah, that's why it's a cult. You should actually watch a really interesting Charlie Kirk video where he argued about what a cult is with someone who accused MAGA of being a cult. Please let them radicalize Jamie Lee Curtis. She's too good an actress to be sitting with the left. Really? She's not welcome back. Oh, I did say something as well. I said all this does is prove that the people who attack her are further into the rabbit hole of leftism than even she is. It also proves the truly insidious nature of such programming, as it apparently destroys a person's humanity and empathy even more than we thought. Yeah, that's my take. It's terrible. Absolutely terrible. And of course, then there's a bunch of the people that have been saying their stuff on Blue Sky. We can have a look at that. We'll see, of course, someone saying hopefully it's Joe Rogan next, Ben Shapiro next. Oh, that was fun. Do Ben Shapiro next. Ben Shapiro, J.K. Rowling, Ben Shapiro, Joe Rogan, J.K. Rowling, Ben Shapiro, Rowling, Shapiro, Matt Walsh. Someone says they want Dennis Prager as well. Disgusting people, and you should never ever get in bed with them or their cause or their ilk. This is why celebrities need to distance themselves from this as fast as possible, because there is no way out once you're in, unless you do something to get kicked out, at which point you're kind of on your own, unless you have a mea culpa, in which case maybe somebody will accept you. But in this particular era, I doubt very much it will be the right. There you go, guys. There we go. Sly Stallone left. Yes, he did. He certainly did. He was furious with Hollywood. They screwed him over in multiple ways too. Mel Gibson as well, of course. And how funny, actually, about Mel Gibson, because the whole thing about him was that he was anti-Semitic, wasn't it, or something, which is now, perfectly okay and encouraged even on the left. So I don't know. But what I do know is they're all fucked in the head. Totally fucked in the head. Talkie Toaster is here for €5. Says the toaster has returned and was able to avoid first-degree toaster-side on the wallet. Have a crumpet. I would love to. I am actually going to buy some yeast because you can't get crumpets in the Philippines. So I'm going to buy some yeast and some molds, and I'm going to make my own crumpets because wifey is interested in what crumpets even are. So there we go. So I'm going to make some crumpets. They're not very difficult to make. They're basically, you just cook them like pancakes, basically. A little bit more to it than that. You have to put baking soda in there as well so they bubble up. It's just standard stuff, though. It's just eggs, flour, baking soda, and yeast. Whip it up. Put it in a very low temperature oven for, we're talking like 20, 30 degrees for about half an hour, 45 minutes. Whip it up again. Get a frying pan going with some molds. Bit of oil, pour it in, boom. 5 minutes later, you got crumpets. So, so I'm going to make some crumpets. God damn the toaster. Man, the Talkie Toaster has totally transformed the channel and this Jackbox. Now we just talk about toast products like all the time, like baked bread and pancakes and stuff. You gotta love it. We appreciate you, Talkie. Thanks for being here, man. Really do. Rosie64 86 for $9.99. That's a tenner. Says the left eating the left. Ironic. Well, it's kind of ironic, I guess. I guess it would be really ironic if it was over something that would be considered more left than any of them. But I get what you're saying. It's just that they do this all the time. This happens all the time. The leftists are constantly turning on each other, stabbing each other in the back, betraying each other, and trying to out virtue signal each other, throwing each other under the bus, and then ostracizing each other from the group. It's really, really stupid. But hey, I guess it is what it is. It is what it is. But anyway, thank you very much for the £10, or $10 rather. Appreciate it.
Drop it.
Hey, Bay, thank you. We are, what, $7 away from the bar hitting the halfway point. Not bad. Not bad. But, well, hopefully the next segment can save us. Let's see. Yeah, let's talk a little bit about some video games, because we haven't yet, and it's time. We do talk about games on this channel as well as other things, so hope you're enjoying yourselves. If you are, please hit the like button. Don't forget, it's important to make sure that you always like the stream immediately. Like the stream, share the stream, and also don't forget to furiously smash the ever-loving hell out of the love button down on the bottom right. Rub it furiously. Just, you know, lick your finger first. Anyway, there we go. And I think I've had enough of talking about LGBT people today.
Alphabeti spaghetti!
Yeah, it's just getting a bit much at this point. So let's talk about something else instead. 2025 has been the year of the indie game. I don't think anyone's going to argue with that. A very fitting sequel, in fact, to 2024, which was the year of the great felting of AAA. But now we replaced it. In 2025, we've had Expedition 33, Silk Song, Schedule 1, all these little indie games popping up out of nowhere and dominating the gaming space, while the AAA Quad A bloated, virtue signaling, woke, leftist occupied games industry just sits and shakes its fists and tries to figure out what went wrong whilst supplying us with games that no one asked for and no one wants, that don't run properly if you are using a competent machine like a PC. And of course, well, I wouldn't say no example is better than this, but certainly a serious and strong example of this, especially after things like Assassin's Creed Shadows, Monster Hunter Worlds. We're looking now about at Borderlands 4, I should say. Excuse me, not Battlefield. Battlefield's doing fine, at least for now. Borderlands 4, though, and of course, Randy Pitchford, the CEO of Gearbox Studios, who has been throwing his toys out of his pram a fair bit lately, trying to cope with gamers just turning around and telling him to go himself at every available opportunity because we don't want to pay too much money. We aren't really that interested anymore in a Borderlands sequel, and you, sir, are a complete and total butthole. So let's have a look at the latest coping and seething from Randy Pitchford and his declaration that if you don't like the game, well, you should not play it. Well, where have I heard that before? Oh, yeah. G4. All right, here we go. This is actually part of a massive thread of him trying to tell people how to get the game to work properly. Windows 10, etc., hardware scheduling, graphics drivers, yada, yada, usual stuff. But here we are right at the end. He says, I know a lot of you are dead set on playing at 4K with Ultramax settings using 2 or 3 year old hardware. Yeah, Yeah, they are. Because that is totally reasonable. That's a totally reasonable take for a gamer to have. Oh, you know, my 2-year-old 50 series RTX should probably be able to handle this. You know, the 128 gigabytes of RAM that I've got in my machine. Not me, obviously. I'm running a mid-tier machine at best. But a lot of you, I know it. It probably should be able to handle anything that the games industry can throw at you, especially since if you are operating a rig like that, you are taking a dump on the contemporary consoles of the age, the PS5 and the Xbox Series X, from a great height. Like, you are running rings around them. So it is very interesting that no one seems to be able to get a game optimized to actually run on this series. Now, of course, this is Randy Pitchford. Randy Pitchford has long been a giant spoiled brat in the games industry. He is a complete douche in almost every sense of the word. And really, there ain't that many people who've ever really celebrated him. Even the people who did like Borderlands 1 and 2. I don't think anyone liked 3. But we'll see anyway. Anyway, then, so he does seem to be trying to say this in this sort of snide, you don't really know what you're doing, do you, kind of way, which, when it's not true, because what he's suggesting here is absolutely reasonable. It says, you do you, but Borderlands 4 and Unreal Engine 5 are doing a lot, and for me, that trade-off for frames isn't worth it. Well, the thing is, mate, you are a supposedly professional CEO of a video game studio in the AAA space. You should have the means, the assets, the human resources, the technology, and the talent to be able to get a game out on time that runs on anything. From a broken old busted, you know, first gen Windows 10 PC, well, probably not that, you know, but a Ryzen 5 or an i5 or something like that, all the way up to contemporary cutting edge PC tech. You should be able to do that. There is no excuse for it. None. And I know Unreal Engine 5 is not well loved. It's not really given me any issues personally, but then I am running a modest PC modestly. But that's me. If you want to push the barriers and run the highest end rig you can, you should be able, nay, more able than I am to play this game. There's no explanation for this or excuse or justification that Pitchford can come up with that doesn't make him look like an absolute spanner. He says, I play at 1440p with settings super high, and I'm super happy with that trade-off. Game looks amazing at 1440p. If you're not 4K stubborn, you are coping and seething, and just want to have a great fun time with higher perf. Please consider running at 1440p resolution. If you've got a beast of a video card, you're probably fine at 4K. But if you're in the middle or close to min spec, I would definitely recommend making that trade. I mean, I play at 1080p. I don't care. But again, this is not the point. The principle is, if you spent that money and you want it this way, you should be able to have it that way. This is such basic customer support stuff. Give the people what they want. The customer is always right. The game industry really needs to learn this. But apparently they can't. Anyway, we'll move on. Randy Pitchford follows up by saying, get a refund from Steam if you aren't happy with Borderlands 4. If you're not happy with Borderlands 4, don't play it. Jesus. That is as bad as a Mercante statement.
And if you have a problem with
That is
that,
real.
come me. Physically. Bitch.
Has anyone taken you up on that yet?
No, because they're all put.
Mercante evolved into Frost, didn't she? Anyway, let's have a look. Randy Pitchford has responded to criticism of Borderlands 4's performance by us and the player to get a refund on Steam if they're unhappy with it. Hello, Frosk. We didn't see you there with all that extra meat on you. Borderlands 4 has been dealing with performance issues since its launch, with many dubbing the game Stutterlands 4. Oh, that's savage. That is savage. Pitchford has already snapped back at some players, stating, code your own engine and show us how it's done, please. You know, I guarantee someone will almost definitely do that. Also, for those asking, fight was censored in that clip because then it makes it sound like something dirty, doesn't it? Now, in a new response, the Gearbox CEO has asked players to get a refund on Steam for Borderlands 4 if they aren't happy with it. Just do it, guys. Go do it. Do it. Do it. Show him. Show him what's up. Spotted by Games Radar Plus, Randy Pitchford mentioned getting a refund on Steam for Borderlands 4 during a recent reply on X, formerly Twitter. Why are we still saying that? The Borderlands 4 boss has been vocal on social media platforms recently, addressing the issues the game is facing. In a recent post, Pitchford stated, "Every PC gamer must accept the reality of the relationship between their hardware and what the software they are running is doing." Look. On the one hand, he's not wrong. On the other hand, it is you and your responsibility to make this thing run on everything with no issue. It is, if it didn't run on PlayStation, there would be a massive outcry. If it didn't run on Xbox, there'd be a massive outcry. If it doesn't run on Switch 2, there'll be a moderate outcry. But PC, buddy, you're dealing with PC gamers. This is the primary concern of most PC gamers. I am the odd one out playing a PC like it's a console and not caring, because I grew up with 144p on CRT TVs. I don't care if I get more than 60 frames a second. But that's me. A player responded to the comments stating that there are games that look and play better than Borderlands 4, adding that it's not running at 30 FPS on minimum specs and barely reaches that point on recommended. Damn, man. What the fuck? That is a terrible state of affairs. Pitchford responded stating that minimum specs absolutely play at 30 FPS and recommended plays at 60. Players with good systems and good tuning can achieve even higher results. He also offered to help with the tuning if the player required it. Yeah, but the thing is, you've got a track record of being a patronizing Wally, haven't you? So no one's going to take you up on that. Of course they're not. They're going to tell you to go fuck yourself. The player responded again, stating it took him days to get Borderlands 4 to a tolerable state, and even with their best setup, the game provides poor performance unless the player concedes delayed inputs. You can't have that in a shooter. Good God. The player also spoke about how they don't enjoy being told to or having to use DLSS or things like it and frame generation. They concluded stating, would you be happy buying a vehicle and finding out the only way you can go 60 miles an hour is by wearing drunk goggles? Got him. Got him. Pitchford clapped back, stating that the player can do whatever they want and the game is the game. Please get a refund from Steam if you aren't happy with it. Buddy, you need to hire some customer support. And no, I'm not talking about a community manager. Oh, no. You need to hire a proper dyed-in-the-wool, old-fashioned customer support manager who knows how to talk to customers. And you need to get the hell away from X for a while, because you are making yourself look like a spoiled brat. He also spoke about the car analogy, stating that if the players can't put a Ferrari engine in a monster truck and expect it to drive like a Ferrari. He didn't stop there, adding that if they don't like being told to use DLSS, don't want to use tools to improve the frame rate, and aren't happy with the frame rate they have, then they should play a different game. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Randy Pitchford, Frosk 3.0. If you don't like it, don't play it. Peace. What a shit show. But there you go. That's what I think. What do you think? Let me know as we proceed. Dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Randy Pitchford, you mug. Shout out to the guys in the chat while I was recording that, by the way. Appreciate you. Real Life Fake Wizard is here. Hello to you, sir. Much respect. Yes, Randy Pitchford is a dumbass. Absolutely. He sure is. Gamer No Scale is here as well. Doesn't know when to shut up. He may be a millionaire, but he's an idiot. Oh, he would definitely be well more, well richer than he is if he did shut the hell up and focus on delivering games that can run on anything. I mean, gamers can be quite reasonable, really, you know? I mean, look at Expedition 33. People were not expecting the cutting edge of cutting edge there, but it looks beautiful. And it runs very, very nicely on almost any PC. And it was AA. Excuse me. Talking for 2 hours with no water is not an easy thing to do, especially when you're knackered and look as dead as I do right now. But there you go, Randy Pitchford. You look like an absolute mug, mate. You look like an absolute twat. Get in the sea, the usual stuff. You know what I'm saying. Anyway, we will move on. We'll have, let's see. All right, I'm going to have to omit one of these because we are getting a little bit long in the tooth on the stream now. And it doesn't look like the bars are getting filled. So we'll begin to wind down. Couple more things to talk about then. Couple more. But first of all, let me just put that away for later and we'll get to the next thing. All right, let's have some more good news. It's always nice to be able to give good news on this channel because I spend so much time giving bad news, reporting on terrible things, tragedies, etc., lawsuits that are completely unjustified, whether they be from insane journalists or incredibly greedy Japanese companies. You know the drill. But every now and then I get to give a bit of good news, and that's a great thing, especially when it refers or relates to an incredibly popular and successful indie title that has had its balls sniped about 8 times during its early access. And that game, of course, is Palworld. Palworld came out at the beginning of 2024 and wowed everybody, getting hundreds of thousands, millions, in fact, of players in the free early access alpha phase of the debatably Pokemon-inspired 3D open world adventure game. But they have added patch after patch after patch since then, all the while being sued for copyright by Nintendo. And a lot of people thought this would be it for Palworld, and Palworld would go the way of the dinosaur. They'd get told they can't make games that are like in any way similar to Pokemon, can't have a system of throwing balls at little characters to collect them or catch them or whatever. Well, writing's on the wall now. Pocket Pair, the developer of Palworld, has survived, and they are gearing up to release version 1.0. Finally, the first official release of Palworld in its full shop shelf ready form coming next year. So let's take a look at what they've got to say, what's going to be added to it, and what we can look forward to. Okay, everybody, here we go. We've got this article from Insider Gaming. Palworld 1.0 release window has been revealed. Pocket Pair has finally announced that Palworld will exit early access with the release of Palworld 1.0 in 2026. Palworld was released in early access in January 2024 and became an instant hit. Within the first year, the game garnered numerous accolades, including achieving one of the highest concurrent player counts of all time on Steam, and of course, in total surpassing 32 million players. And that was a week before Gamergate 2 started. However, that was still in early access. The developers are still now planning a full release, official release, version 1 of Palworld in 2026. Pocket Pair has released a new video on their official YouTube channel. There's not a lot of information on there, but it is well worth having a look at if you want to see the smiling devs. They have a lot to say. Discussing the release of Palworld 1.0 and its future, the communications director and publishing manager of Pocket Pair, Bucky, first spoke about all the updates the game has received since entering early access, including raids with version 0.2, Sakurajima with version 0.3, Faybreak with version 4, and the cross-play support with 05, and of course their crossover with Terraria, Heartbeat with version 0.6. I don't know what is going on in Palworld anymore. I haven't played it since it was in version 0.1, so I'm kind of curious to go take a look at it again, certainly when it does come out, or maybe before that. I don't know. Maybe let me know if you want me to go and do a stream where I explore around in Palworld, see what's changed. Now, the developers are looking at version 1.0 for Palworld, which will finally bring its full release. To do that, the game will require a lot of cleanup. Well, I mean, that stands to reason, really, doesn't it? I mean, that's exactly what we'd expect from a situation like this. It's just going to be what it's going to be, isn't it? Bucky will acknowledge the game's, he acknowledged the game's quirks and jank. Fair. And wants to properly address them before releasing the title. So it's polishing time. Sounds fantastic. The cleanup process will begin this year, and the team's goal is to release Palworld in 2026 officially. There was a lovely little moment in the video, if you do check it out, by the way, right after the intro, where the guy was saying, well, you know, we're going to give you all the news, but don't worry, it's good news. Because a lot of us were worried that the news was going to be, we're closing down Palworld because Nintendo told us to. So there we go. It won't be as big a winter update this year as the Faybreak update, and that's probably understandable as they divert their attention to improving the stability of the game ready for a mainstream release. And yes, if anybody wants to join me to stream Palworld at some point, that's something I'd be open to, although I'm rusty as hell, so bear that in mind. The communications director confirmed that things are going to be a little quiet from us for the rest of the year as they prepare Palworld's full release, love it, which also means that the winter update for this year won't be as big as the previous one. However, that doesn't mean there will be no updates. The devs still have a few surprises in store for the players. Palworld devs have a massive amount of content planned for the 1.0 update. Bucky added the Palworld 1.0 will be a significant milestone for the team, and they have a truly massive amount of content planned for this update, which is great because the world, big as it was, already has become much, much bigger through the expansions. So God knows what we might be facing when Palworld 1.0 comes out. However, they don't want to rush the update and instead lay a proper foundation. The developers will share some sneak peeks about Palworld 1.0 in the very near future. Excellent news. This is fantastic. I mean, obviously, apart from anything else, it's just good news that they survived the Nintendo onslaught and that they actually still get to release their game. One of the other things, very interestingly, that was announced in the video that accompanied that was the beginning of Pocket Pair Publishing, in which case they are going to be doing very much a similar practice to the guys who helped out Samfall Interactive to get Expedition 33 out of the game. In other words, hands off, you keep creative control publishing, meaning that the indie space is starting to turn into a true contender for AAA, which is something that I am very, very excited about, as I am absolutely sick to death of the greed, corruption, avarice, insults, and everything else that is associated with the AAA games industry today. Let them go. Let their franchises go. They're all dead. They're just being rehashed and sequelized forever, remakes that we don't need, etc., etc., etc. Let them get wrecked. And glory to the new order of indie-rific games coming out with self-publishing or indie publishing. The games industry may just survive if this continues. And I'm personally very happy to hear that. We need more of this kind of attitude from the people who actually work in the gaming, apart from, of course, all the activist trash to get jobs working for Ubisoft, etc. Just a new order of gaming. Couldn't be more thrilled. Let me know how you feel about it. It's going to be a good, I think. But there we go, guys. Oh, man. It is hard to talk for 2 straight hours, you know? Really hard. Really hard. But I need to cover a lot of ground in this stream. Catch up with a lot of topics. Oh, should I do one more? Or I might just call it a night, because I am pretty damn tired. Rosie is back for another $9.99. You MVP, you. Look at you. You absolute legend. Another 10. Says, I can get the bar filled up halfway at least. Thank you so much. I appreciate
Drop
you.
it.
money, 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 print money, money, cash, money, money, well, capitalism, raise a bunch of money, money, more money, 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 heaps and heaps of money, 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 print money, money, cash, money, money, well, capitalism, raise a bunch of money, money, super chat money.
As salty as the sea, calling us code names. SJW screaming, but it's money they blame. Burning with envy, they're falling flat. They can't handle the sound of a super chat.
Love it. Love it. Thank you very much, Rosie. I appreciate you for that. Probably won't get to the titties today, but well, you never know. You never know. James Up is here for $5 and says, I can set up a static server. Can have 32 players if people are interested. That does sound quite tempting. That does sound quite tempting. I am looking for a reason to go back into Power World. You better DM me about that. I'll have to obviously look at my schedule because I'm very, 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 very busy. This is why I'm streaming this show now at this time instead of in the morning, because it was killing me, frankly, trying to keep up with all this and 2 kids and the school run and all the back end stuff that I do for the channel too. There's no employees of this channel. It's just me, you know? So, and you guys, the mods, thank you. And the members who show up and help me and support the channel. So I appreciate you greatly for that. Yeah, I would be very interested in that if we can find a time where I can come in, drop out as I can, you know. That would be great. I'd love that. You play when you want. Oh, okay, right. So yeah, so we wouldn't be doing like sessions together or anything. You just create the server, we all just play on it. That sounds great. That sounds good. Yeah, let's do it. I'm a little married to Metal Gear Solid Delta at the moment as I race to get the perfect plat of it on Steam. I don't know what you guys call that on Steam. I still call it Platinum or whatever. I'm a PlayStation guy, or I was. But yeah, after that, I will be very much looking for something else to play. I could go back to Power World, definitely. I'll also be trying to stream more of Wind Waker, get that back off the ground at some point and continue with that. But there's no rush for that one because it is, you know, what it is. MagesGuild for $2 says, sorry, nodded off. Will do again. Missed stuff. Well, there you go, buddy. I don't know what time zone you live in, so it might be the wrong time for you. I don't know. But I appreciate you being here nonetheless. I know you often make it to WTF Live when we're at this time of day. Thank you for the 2. Yeah. Appreciate it. You guys are awesome. Okay. Let me think. One more little bit of coping and seething from the games industry. Like the stream, guys, if you are enjoying yourself, and I'll go a little bit longer. If you want to help us get to the next Jackbox stream, please give up some memberships to your contemporaries in the chat. And I'm sure everyone, even if they're not here right now, will appreciate that at some point later. Although we do have quite the epic roster of members, thanks to Mr. Rouge a few days ago, dropping like 100 on the trot. And then TJAP Steve's been amazing lately as well. So there we go. If we can sustain it, I'll be very, very happy, man. And one way to make sure that happens is to play a lot of Jackbox, which was also great for you guys because we get to play together. So there's that. In the meantime, then, I'll talk about one last topic. Excuse me. Before my throat is absolutely wrecked and my voice gives out. Apologies if that sounded, you know.
I'm going to be totally honest with you. This is sounding really gay.
Well, you know. Right, anyway, let's crack on and talk about one last thing. So, I should probably take these sunglasses off, shouldn't I? Probably. Although I actually look terribly tired. Hollow Knight returned out of nowhere recently with the sequel Silk Song. Of course, everybody and their mums is playing it at the moment. It has got something like 600,000 concurrent peak players on Steam. and has done millions of copies allegedly across multiple platforms, even though it's also on Game Pass. A lot of people chalking this up to 8 years of hype, an incredibly affordable price, the game being excellent and very gamer oriented, read difficult, and last but not least, the fact that they did a tactical shadow drop to baffle everybody with only a 2-week window until the game came out. Okay, not quite a shadow drop, but near as damn it. But not everybody is happy to hear about this. Not everybody was thrilled to find out that their release window would also be occupied by the sequel to one of the most important and beloved indie games of all time. And they are kind of throwing their toys out of the pram about it. I mean, some might say they're justified. Others might say, meh. I don't know which you'll think. Let's see what I think. So here we are at Insider Gaming for Andrew Hyten's Hollow Knight Silksong Shadow Drop release was callous, says Hell Is Us director. Now, Hell Is Us, of course, also has done some numbers on, it's not very fair to say, on SteamDB. If we are to go over to SteamDB and take a quick look at the charts, you will see very quickly here the numbers are not great for Hell Is Us. 4,431 peak all-time concurrent players, heading steadily downwards a little bit too. Not too thrilled with that, although it is halfway through the week, so you never know. Meanwhile, of course, if you go to Silksong and have a look at that, the numbers change dramatically. 587,000 concurrent peak players. That is 110 times the amount that Hell Is Us has got. Maybe Hell Is Us would have done better if Silksong had never come out. Maybe it would, but we don't know. History can only go one way. What we do know is that the guy is kind of whining about it a little bit. So let's see what he's got to say. Hell Is Us game director Jonathan Jacques Beltet. Beautiful head. Has opened up on Team Cherry's decision to suddenly announce Silksong's release date a couple of weeks in advance. While the dev understands the team did nothing wrong. Well, yeah, I mean, that's rules of engagement, isn't it? The move doesn't sit well with the director. Well, of course not. I mean, it's like being a live streamer and, you know, working on a brand and streaming something, and then somebody 10 times the size of you starts streaming at the same time, like every day. And then, you know, you're like, oh, well, there goes my audience. You know, I can understand why people would be a little annoyed about that, but at the same time, no one's done anything technically wrong. So it is what it is. Hollow Knight Silksong finally got a demo at Gamescom 2025. It was also shown off during opening night live, and it meant a release date announcement was surely looming. However, we don't think anyone saw Team Cherry suddenly declaring Silksong's release date to be just 2 weeks away at the time. It's very evocative of the Fallout 4 announcement. It's very evocative of lots of things like that. So, yeah, you know, I can understand a little bit why he'd be feeling a little felted, a little bit, you know, bloody Cherry. But at the same time, shut up. Shut up. Don't be a little bitch and whine about it. Just be better, you know? Find some other problem. Tarantino had the same problem with Star Wars. Lots of directors have found themselves felted by Disney. It's just what it is, you know? You are unfortunately not going to be releasing a game that is going to get the same amount of hype as the sequel to Hollow Knight. You're just not. The game is beloved. So, yeah, of course, it would have an impact on other games. It's the GTA 6 of indie, according to this article. Now, this, of course, is a shot here of what looks to me to be Hell Is Us. Quite interesting. Hopefully, it's not too Dark Souls, because everything is Dark Souls these days, and it's getting a little annoying, frankly. But anyway, Demon School was delayed till November due to Silksong, and Baby Steps also fell victim to the Shadow Drop release date. Silksong's release date wasn't an authentic Shadow Drop, but as this usually means, a game launches on the same day. Yes, Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remaster is what I'm talking about. But the magnitude of Silk Song meant few companies had any time to prepare for one of 2025's biggest releases. I mean, it's tough though, isn't it? Because you've got investors and people like that. But the best move you could have made would have been to put it back a couple of weeks. Put everything back a couple of weeks. Of course, then you're going to run into other things that are releasing too. It's a tough one. I can relate. I can not relate. I can empathize, sympathize with the plight of the guy, but he's been a bit of a bellend calling it callous. In an interview with Skill Up, Hell Is Us director Jonathan Jacques Bellend was asked about Silk Song's sudden release date announcement. They're allowed to do what they did. For some reason, I'm hearing it in a French accent now. They're allowed to do what they did. There are no rules or laws against that. I'm not going to continue, of course. I don't want to say they caused this to us or somebody else. I don't really care about that. I think you do, buddy. I think you're coping a little bit. And I don't really want to get into that type of debate. But when you're that big, I think a shadow drop is a bit like, wow. Look, at the end of the day, you were outplayed. All's fair. It sucks to be you. A little bit of sympathy, but going out and whining about it like this, not a good look. Jonathan described Silk Song as the GTA 6 of indie and didn't hold back on his thoughts. To shadow drop something like this is a little callous. Maybe, but not really something you should be saying in public. It's quite a strong adjective from the director and probably underlines just how massive Team Cherry's call was and how much it impacted countless developers and publishers. This is where we want to hear from you. That's what they say. It is a touchy subject, and I want to hear what you guys think as well, because it is a tricky subject. At the end of the day, you are maybe on one hand, you work and you work and you work at something, you struggle and you graft and you grift and you work and you grind, and when you get ready to release, someone comes along with something 10 times the size of it and goes, boom. A little bit of notice would have been appreciated. On the other hand, there is still sort of a need for sportsmanship in this, and you should probably just go, yeah, that was unfortunate. Not, they're a bit callous, aren't they, for doing that? Loads of developers got themselves felted by this. Now, at the end of the day, if Hell Is Us is really, really good, then it will eventually make the money anyway. Steam's like that. PC gamers are like that. When they find out something else came out that day, they're going to check it out. And if they're interested, they will play it. And if they like it, they will review it. And if they review it and it's good reviews, then other people will pick it up and play it as well. So ultimately, you've still got forever to make your money back, to get your game played. Maybe not as much as it would have, but just don't be such a whiny little bitch. You know? It's not a good look, especially from a man. But there you go. That's what I think. You guys, let me know what you think, because it's a tricky one. Is it fair? Is it unfair? Is it callous? Is it fine? Is it justified? Try not to be too biased in favor of Silk Song. Obviously, everybody loves Silk Song, but you know, these things can really make people into their worst selves. So we'll see. But there you go, guys. We are done for the day. We are indeed done for the day. I am absolutely exhausted and must go to bed as soon as possible because it is late. It's 11:15, and I've slept 3 times today, each time for no longer than an hour. So I need to go crash and get ready to start dropping videos for you all, starting in about an hour's time. So that will do for today's episode of HyperDrive Time. I really appreciate all of you guys who have been here for the duration. We had quite a good audience up there at one point. We had like over 50 odd people watching, which is pretty damn good for this show at this new time slot. So that's great to know that people are around and willing to watch at that time. And yeah, I will be resting up and getting myself back on my feet to be back for the same time tomorrow for WTF Live Thursday edition with John and Rhoda. And then, of course, we're doing another HyperDrive Time on Friday. It's, yeah, for you guys, it's also Friday now. So Friday, I'll be doing HyperDrive Time again. And from there, it will be open season. We'll see how the bars do. If the bars get filled, we'll be playing Jackbox at some point. Not sure when, either at the end of WTF Live or perhaps indeed even in its own dedicated stream over the weekend. We will see. Till then, though, take care of yourselves. I really appreciate everybody who gifted, by the way. Talkie Toaster, MagesGuild, MagesGuild. James Up, Smash JT with the 5 memberships, by the way. Sardox, Spamfish, DramaticaLaur, Talkie Toaster again. Rosie, James Up, MagesGuild. You guys are awesome. Really appreciate you. And I'll leave you with the new. Finally, I did it. I actually updated the credits, and you will see just probably the fastest moving credit sequence we've ever had on this channel. But yeah, that's it. Till next time, take care, spike your hair, peace in the Middle East. See you in hell. Ta-ta for now.